All right, guys, top of the morning. Happy Wednesday, May 7th. Coming to you feeling alive, feeling excited. Coming to you with 6 hours and 38 minutes worth of sleep. Got up this morning at 3:30 a.m., but I'm firing on all cylinders. I'm feeling really, really good. So good to see you guys. Listen, we'll sleep when we need to sleep. We got business to do. We got dreams to achieve, and we got goals that we are trying to crush. And so thank you for being here. Thank you for being on. I'm going to have somebody set the tone, set the sentiment, and bring us out on the field on this beautiful, beautiful Wednesday morning. And that person is going to be Miss Jamie Thomas. Miss Jamie Thomas, set the tone. Bring the group out on the field today. And I want you to share one thing that you're beyond grateful for right now in your life, business, health, and relationships. Let's go, Jamie.
Good morning, colleagues. I just want to say, let's do our thing every single day. We know what we have to do. We know it. We already have the plan. We already have it set up for us. Let's just get out there and do it every single day. Be grateful for today. Be thankful that we are up, alive, and well, seeing, breathing, and can eat, got a roof over our head. I am grateful for all of those things. And I'm just thankful that I can look back over yesterday and be better today. So let's look at what we did yesterday and be better today.
That's right. I absolutely right, Vernon. Like we never know. This is your stage to say whatever you want, whatever you feel, and set the tone. But it sounds to me that this is a person in Jamie that is reading, that she is mentally preparing, she is psychologically preparing, emotionally preparing. So she seems and feels ready. So Jamie, I really appreciate your tone, your sentiment, and everything that you just shared. So thank you for leading the way and taking us out on the field. And so you guys, we have new people on the call today. We have guests on the call today. Vernon, what's one thing a guest can expect from our time together today? And let's share with them.
Let me take myself off of mute. Put your seatbelt on. Okay. The destination for this vehicle on Wednesday it's directed, but it's unknown. The route to get there is going to be an experience. So contribute. If you have something that burns within you, let it out because you have value to add to this group. However, be prepared for the emotional, the psychological ride that we are about to go on in this next 50 minutes. Put your seatbelt on and let's go.
All right, cool. Well, welcome, you guys. Let's go ahead and get rolling. There's a lot of things happening in the market right now. We are seeing what seems to be some type of a shift. Obviously, we've been talking about this for the last couple of weeks, but what I want to share with you once again is this, and I'm just going to leave this up on the screen for a moment. Okay. Are you educated enough to have an opinion? And I think that this is crucial that we talk about this. We talked about this last week. We talked about this the week prior, and we're going to continue to talk about this because I believe that the strongest companies and the strongest teams and the strongest organizations are actually out in front of this communication. They're having dialogue internally so that when they have external communication, it sounds good, it's fluid, and there should be no time where any of you that are on the screen or that are in real estate should feel fearful if a consumer pushes back about their concerns, their trepidation, or their doubt, right? You should be expecting for a consumer to have fear because they saw something in the headlines. And if you're not ready for that conversation, you need to check yourself at the door, check your skill level, ask yourself how much time you're reading, how much time you're aware of the market. Are you looking at what's going on? Are you conscious of what's going on? Have you even rehearsed what that would sound like if you were to talk to a consumer? Or are you thinking that you're going to go about this business passively? Because here's the thing, Kimosabi, this business is not going to come to you passively. You have to be aware, you have to be conscious, you have to be an expert, you have to display your expertise because that's what's happening right now. A consumer is hearing all kinds of things as always. They're looking at the news, they're looking at the headlines, and they're forming their own stories. And here you are to share with them the light of what's actually happening. But if you are not educated, then you don't even have an opinion. You are going to be led and controlled by the consumer, whatever they say, and then you're going to tell them, just let me know, and down the road, if you ever need anything, here's my card. Fuck that. People need to move. They need to start investing in real estate. They need to start building equity. They need to start building something for their family that they can look back at and say, you know what, I'm so glad that we took that chance. I had an expert in Vernon. I had an expert in Glenn that led me through this. So Are you educated enough to have an opinion? It's the first question. Second question is, right now, what type of communication are you having? And this is hot seat time. We're just going to get right into the flow of things today. We are on what I believe this turning point of the business. Now, let's talk about your reps first and foremost. I'm going to bring up something on my screen here. And you guys, your boy is full of energy this morning. Like I said, I got very, very good, accurate sleep for 6 hours and 38 minutes. But who's tracking? Who's counting? But Vernon, stop laughing at your boy, all right? All right, guys, I'm going to share something with you, and I'm going to pull my screen up really quick. All right, so let's go here. I'm going to go calculator. All right, Glenn, can you see my screen? Can you see a calculator on the screen?
I don't see a calculator. I see, are you educated enough?
All right, cool. Let me do this then. Glenn, can you now see a calculator on my screen?
That's the biggest ass calculator I've ever seen. It's big.
All right, full screen, right?
Yeah, it's a big one.
All right, cool. So let's do this. Let's be realistic with the conversation. The conversations that you're having with consumers is what separates you from the successful and the non-successful people in real estate. So let's say on an average, it takes you 40 conversations to have one deal. So if your goal for the year was to say, I want to sell 10 homes, I'm going to times that by 40, right? So now I need to have 400 conversations for the year divided by 52 weeks in the year. On an average, you need to have about 8 conversations for the entire week. Let's divide that by 5 days that you're actually working. So let's call that 2 conversations a day. All right. I think that's the bare minimum. That's a C minus. Every single one of you can have 2 conversations a day. If you're not prospecting, if you're not in contract, if you're not creating social media content, then what are you actually doing every single day to have conversations with consumers? Now, let's say that this year, it is safe to say that people are leaving the market because they're still uncertain. There's still that doubt. And so no matter what type of narrative you help them form and understand and give them a different perspective, there's still going to be people that leave the market. Safe to say? They're not ready. They're going to do whatever they're going to do. So let's say that we lose 20% of the people. So what I want you guys to do is say, if my goal still is at 10 deals for the year, and I'm going to times that now by, let's say, 60 conversations, okay? So now I've gone up 20 or 200 conversations more for the year to supplement the people that are leaving the industry, because I want to make sure that I'm still talking to the right people, the people that are motivated to buy despite the market, but I need to go and find more. I need to do more lead generation, more video content, knock on more doors, host more open houses. So now I divide that by 52 weeks in the year. And now I get a total of 11 and a half, so let's call it 12 conversations per week. And I divide that by 5 days that I'm actually doing some work in real estate. So that means that every single day, I'm going to have a minimum 2 conversations every single day, no matter what. So you have to ask yourself right now, am I marketing like my life depends on it? Am I marketing like my business depends on it? Am I out marketing the competition? Am I more seen? Am I more visible? Am I creating more content? Am I out there in front of the consumers? Or am I still at this point, mid-year, still not doing anything that I know I need to do? So you have to understand that the market right now is shifting. If more inventory is on the market, that means that the buyers are going to have more opportunities. So what's going to happen with some of the listings? Some of those listings are going to naturally sit a little bit longer. And so what you're seeing is this slight shift. Well, you have to, as a buyer's agent right now, write the aggressive offers. Ask for everything that you would want in your offer. Put it in writing. Shoot your shot and see what they send you back, because if the listings are sitting longer and you have these buyers that have more opportunities, what that means for the sellers is that they have a desire and more urgency to sell that property. So when you're writing your offers and you say, you know what, I'm going to give this one a chance. It's a little under. I'm asking for concessions, but I'm going to shoot my shot, because those listings are not moving as fast as they were because there's more on the market right now. So if we're shifting into a buyer's market, fucking shoot your shot. Write the offer. Allow yourself to get a counter back and be like, all right, cool. Now we're playing ball. Now we're playing ball. Now we can have communication. We can have negotiations and we can talk. So I want to encourage you guys to go back to the original conversation. Make sure you're reading. Make sure you're understanding this market. Make sure you can practice the dialogue. Right, Vernon, let's get together. Hey, Jamie, let's get together. Hey, Chris, let's get together. Let's just practice how this sounds. Are we in a buyer's market? Are we in a seller's market? And if so, what are the types of shifts that you're seeing? How does this impact the sellers? How does this impact the buyers? Can you have an astute conversation about that? And are you amplifying the amount of communication and marketing efforts to supplement the people that are going to leave this game? Because we know it's going to happen. And then they're going to resurface 6 months down the road and say, I'm ready now. It's going to happen. It's the natural cycle of business. Your responsibility is to make sure that your activities are amplified in a way that supplements anybody that is not going to be in the game right now. You have to fill in those blanks. Market like your life depends on it. Go all in, lock in, and make sure that you're having more conversations right now because it matters. It matters. I want to pause for a quick second. I want to get your contributions, thoughts before we turn it over to you guys to talk about the market. Does anybody have any thoughts or sentiment on what I just shared? Feel free to take yourself off of mute, grab the mic, and let's hear from you. Anybody got anything on that vein? Going once, going twice. All right, let's go, Ash. What do we got from?
I text you, but just to share with everyone, I've been texting all of my clients. Hey, just wanted to give you a market update. Inventory is sitting a little longer, which is an amazing thing for you. All of the ones that are pre-approved but have been waiting, anyone who's been saving for cash to close, I text everybody and I sent them the news article because we as salespeople can say anything. But if there's a news article, if you search it by Redfin, 44% of sellers are giving seller credits in this market. And then I'm just explaining to the buyers, they're using this for closing costs. They're using this to get a cheaper mortgage. And I'm getting applications in by sending those. I think I sent 60 yesterday and I have 4 or 5 applications coming in from them.
From one campaign yesterday. I mean, this is amazing, incredible. Evangeline, what did you got? What did you have for the group? Let's hear from you. Thank you for your contribution.
I more so have a question. So I was sharing how it is a buyer's market and giving all of these stats. And someone that I was speaking to who was more fearful, an objection that came up was, okay, well, if that's the case, then what's going to happen when I want to try to sell my home? Look at, there's all this inventory and it's sitting. So it just shows that real estate isn't a good investment. Now, the objection handle that I gave was like, well, you still are paying for rent and that goes up 5% every year plus the, local consumer price index versus your investment still goes up. But I just want to see what other people had in terms of that objection. I thought that was interesting in terms of a fear-based objection.
All right, so isolate the objection for me. Is it them saying down the road what they
Right. So the objection is coming from fear, and it's that if it's currently a buyer's market, there's so much inventory out there. Isn't that indicative then that like it'll just be harder for me to sell my house later down the road? No one wants it. Look, no, it's again this belief that the market's going to crash and real estate isn't worth anything.
Yeah, so I would love to hear some of our listening agents chime in on this, but first and foremost, Evangeline, I would win that conversation with some data. I would say historically, first and foremost, I can understand how you feel that way. Others have felt that in the past, but here's what we have found. Over the course of the last 5 years in this particular market, home sales in this area have been X amount. Now we're slightly down 6% year over year, but historically sales have always been positive in this area. What we're always going to have is we're going to have seasons where maybe we shift more into a buyer market. However, the sellers will always have the upper hand. And if you have a good real estate agent like myself, we're going to price it right. We're going to negotiate the offers that we do receive. And we're going to make sure that we time the market and we prep it and prepare it in a way that's going to get the most impact and the most net for your dollar. So I understand your concerns. Other consumers have felt that same way, but we have found in this market, A, B, and C, and the data supports that. So I would lean in with the data. Also let them know that you're the expert, you're the negotiator, and you're the one that's going to be able to get them the offer that they want. And who's to say that the market's not going to be good for them in 2 years? That's kind of short-sighted on their behalf, but I'd love to hear from Chris. I'd love to hear from Glenn. I'd love to hear from Damian, KD. Share with us, if you were to get that, what type of feedback would you give the consumer? Let's go, Chris.
Yeah, I'm working with a handful of sellers right now, and I keep following up, like, are you ready to sell? Are you ready to sell? And life gets to them, and they're always hesitant, hearing about the news. But when you break down the data and let them know, I always keep current on my data. There's a few people here in Greater Sacramento I follow daily. So whenever I get new information, I'm calling those seller leads and just telling them how you doing, where we at in the process. And I actually got 2 of them committed. So to actually moving forward, I'm scheduling pictures for 2 listings coming up just because I'm breaking down the data on a weekly basis. So you kind of just let them know, right now in the Sacramento region, last week, I got it from Ryan Lindquist, 60% of pending contracts had only 1 offer, right? And 84% had 2 or less. So we're not in a high multiple offer situation. And when you do that and you provide the CMA when you first try to get that deal, you got to update the CMA as you go on because you're following up and things sell. So next time you touch your seller and make contact, you let them know, okay, the last CMA I sent you 2 weeks ago, 2 of those pendings I sent you actually just sold. Here's what they sold at. So here's what the market is doing. So when you break it down like that and keep them current and always update them with facts, they're going to be like, damn, this guy knows what I'm doing. They're going to stop asking you questions. You know what I mean? They're going to commit, and then as long as you have that same process and you set expectations correctly from the beginning, they're less and less likely to give you resistance the more and more you touch them because of the way you conduct yourself, because of the data you're giving. So no matter what they're saying, people need to sell, people need to buy. Your neighbor sold their house for 170 grand more than what I listed for. Here's the reason. Boom, boom. You give them the details and you let them know about the stats, how 84% of homes on the market last week that went pending only had 2 or less offers. There's half of them had concessions. So when you kind of set the expectation correctly and you update them with data consistently, they're going to be most likely less to resist instead of an agent that just wings it and be like, well, it's a balanced market and they don't really just be talking shit. You know what I mean? You can't just talk bullshit. You gotta come with data, set expectations, and then they're gonna just be like, okay, let's go, Chris. So I don't know if you guys got anything from that, but that's what I do.
Yeah, I absolutely do. And Evangeline, I want to share some stats with you. It says here in Housing Wire, it's an article that I'll share with everybody for the end of April. They counted over 71,000 new contracts for single family homes. That's up 4.6 year over year from that previous week. But it came in only 8%, 8.7% fewer than the same week in 2024. So even though there's going to be slight dips overall, at the end of the day, if you have the right pricing in the right market and it is staged correctly, then I don't think that you'll have a problem selling that house 2-3 years down the road. But shouldn't even be a concern, but I get why they're asking that. Glenn, I would love to hear your thoughts and contribution, and KD, I'd love to hear your thoughts and contribution on this.
Ultimately, their fears are coming from someplace, right? And so I would figure out like truly what they are afraid of. I was just putting in nationwide appreciation is at 4%, and that includes locations like Tornado Alley and the swamps of Florida. So, which we are not either one of those. So, there's something that I heard recently that just really makes a lot of sense and rings true is that if we manage expectations and we avoid emotion. So, what do they want to do? Do they want to buy or do they want to sell? Right? Today they want to buy. So I would work on just managing those short-term fears. Like, what is it right now? In 4 years or 6 years or 10 years, let's take a look at where your house is. But for today, looking at history, I bought my first home in 2004. I sold it in 2008. I bought my first home for 265,000. I short sold it for 75,000 4 years later because the banking industry wasn't properly managing the industry at that time, right? So if they're looking at that time, we could talk about what's different then versus now. But I would really get down to the core of what they're afraid of today and manage that. And just help them to move forward today because they will kick themselves in the ass if they don't move today.
Yeah, smart. Katie, what's your contribution on that? I appreciate your contribution, Glenn. Would love to hear from you, who is somebody that is taking a lot of listings. What do you have?
So great contribution from both Chris and Glenn. I agree with both. Like, data is everything because I'm a big data person myself as well. So first of all, like just figuring out overall, like, the specific market the person is in, just studying the market, what exactly is going on, how many have gone pending in the past month or the past 3 months, how many offers they're receiving, and just communicating with the agents nearby and see like, what kind of offers they're receiving, how the open house has been for them. Because it's more informative for the when you get together again with the seller, you can bring all the data along with you and be like, hey, I had a chance to talk to most of the agents in the neighborhood that are selling properties or have sold properties, that this is what I got back from them. Like, this is how many offers they received, this is how the market is, and this is how much concessions they paid right now as well. But again, nobody can predict the future. We don't know what's gonna hold down the line as well. But as of right now, this is the data we have. And then if they're planning on, I couldn't hear fully because I joined late, what exactly the objection was from Evangeline, but I'm just following up on Chris and Glenn's conversation.
Yeah, Evangeline, do you want to give him the exact objection that you heard?
Yeah, so this is a buyer that is fearful to buy because of seeing around, seeing that there's so much inventory on the market and it's sitting on the market. So they're have it in their belief that, okay, well, it must be bad to buy because look at all these sellers, they can't even sell their home. And now why would I want to buy? Because when I go to sell my home, it's not going to get sold because of what I'm seeing.
Is he currently living in the house he's trying to sell, or is he
No,
rented
they're
out?
renting. They're renting.
Oh, so when he buys the property now, when he plans on selling down the line, he's concerned about that property then.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. But again, like if he's getting a good deal now, he should be worried about now. Like, what's the now situation? He's still paying for the rent and losing that money. But like at least when he buys the property, gets the credits and stuff later on, he has tax benefits on top of that too. So it's just educating him on top of that, like, hey, consider this, whatever interest you pay, it's tax deductible. Whatever taxes you're paying is tax deductible on top of that too. So it's just educating him on all those things.
I absolutely love that. Eventually, I would just run some comps right there and just show them, hey, in the last 3 months, 6 months, however long, however far back you go, show them how many houses have actually sold in that area. Where's he looking?
This is Modesto. This is Modesto. So yeah.
Yeah. What a great market to give him some like data. If you go back to 2020 and show them what houses were selling for in Modesto in 2020 compared to right now, even people that live in Modesto are absolutely shocked with the values, right? So it's just like, on one hand, you're concerned about not netting money down the road when we don't have a crystal ball, but in the meantime, all you're doing is throwing away all of your money for rent, right? So it's just like, we have to help them see, like, in Modesto, in this area, 4 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,200 square feet, here's how many houses have sold in just the last 6 months, right? And if we look back at history, and I was just doing this exercise here, I did one for Livermore, and I went back to 2020, and I did a detached, and I went to Livermore to see, okay, well, what were the prices in Livermore at that time? And let me just go to this. I just had it up. Sorry. LM. All right. So right here, to go to Livermore and purchase the house. Why didn't it come up? All right, cool. Oh, where is it? I just had it. All right. So let me see if I can find it again. Why is Livermore not here now? Anyways, the median price for a Livermore home was $839,000. Okay. In Livermore. Try to find a house at that price right now. And if we look at this year in 2024, well, it's still not caught up, but let's just look at the end of last year, download here. And I'm going to go here, Alameda, let's go Antioch, Berkeley, Brentwood, Clayton, let's go Danville, Discovery Bay. It's just up and didn't All right, so let's go here. So if we look at this, Evangeline, let's go to Livermore here. Medium sales price was 1.3. So I need them to be able to see the big picture of what that's doing for their family, the growth investment, because the point that he said is that real estate's not a good investment, right? Where else are they going to get over $250,000, $300,000 in positive equity in 5 years? What type of annuity, stock, bond, savings account, gold, I don't care what it is going to give them that type of growth over the span of the next 5 years. So when he says, or they say, well, I don't believe real estate is a good investment, well, let me share with you why I believe that statement not to be true, and you share the data with them. All right, let's go on to, and then we'll go Deep Bledsoe, we'll go Otis. What do we got on to?
Just quickly, Evangeline, I was thinking, like, I think, like Chris said, data is everything. And I think if you compare, if you take 2008 when the market crashed and nobody's selling or whatsoever, to like 2013 when the market heat up and everyone wants to buy and see how the prices change, I think that is also a good comparison for your buyer because the market that just, even when the market crashes, it will get back and it will go into positive again. So the market that just doesn't, it doesn't fall for, it doesn't lose value. So I think that you can compare that time to this time now, and hopefully they'll understand that.
Evangeline, what's their monthly rent? I'm just curious.
I have no clue. I didn't even ask that.
Yeah, so I would do monthly rent, and then Modesto I would do, and I know the stat it's 4%. So the average annual appreciation in Modesto is 4%. So take their rent, compile that over the next 5 years, and then take their house purchase of X amount times 4% to give them the total appreciation that they could have year over year, right? Think about the type of growth and financial opportunities that that provides for their family. So in what world do we live in that real estate is not a good investment, right? So like you share with them what is happening and then make them see like, okay, maybe I was wrong in that, right? Because at the end of the day, we all know that they're wrong. We just have to have them realize for themselves that they're wrong without us telling, no, you're wrong. We have to show them, educate them, and advocate for them. Let's go Deep Bledsoe, and then let's go Otis.
Oh, wait, so slow. Good morning. No, on the end of that buyer, I would just tell them that when inventory is higher, you have more options and you're less apt to have a lot of competition on one property because there's more for other people to choose out of. So ultimately, you're probably going to pay less for the home, as if compared to if there was lower inventory, which would create a higher demand. So it's a better time for you to buy now. And then on the other side of that, in terms of resale, again, like you guys said, we broach that when you get there in a few years.
Yeah, I think all the market data and stats are gonna support your narrative. They just have to be able to see that, right? And that's when we slow down, we break everything down for them, we share those stats. So let's go Otis, and then David, you'll be the last contribution. Thank you, D. Let's go Otis. What do we got for him?
You was cooking, Elias, like what you were saying. I put it in a group chat that I think it's always imperative when you're dealing with somebody like that that's trying to see the future. You got to kind of be like a painter. You got to be Picasso. You got to paint the picture for them. So appreciation ports are huge. Usually 5 to 8 years because that's the average with a home time period Americans stay in the home. So between that time period, I usually do 10 years. So it gives them an idea, showing them like, do you really want to miss out on this $250,000, $300,000, Elias, in the next 10 years? Because I can tell you, you're not going to be paying that much in rent, but you're also not going to be able to have, the flexibility that a homeowner has when you're able to take out some equity. Let's say that, yeah, the economy continues to get bad and you did buy this house. For sure, the biggest thing that you're going to have, the biggest asset is your home. Your car depreciates as soon as you take it off the lot. Anything but the most expensive watches on the planet are only things that are going to appreciate over a period of time, like real estate. So you just want to make sure that you're putting your money into something that you're going to be able to get it back. You'll try to think about the stocks and bond market, but you can see how we're playing around with these tariffs and how much money are missing. So I think the safest bet is let's not reach too far into the future without knowing what it is, but historically going off the data. So history shows it like this. And what does history do all the time? It repeats itself. So I think that I know you're scared right now, but the soundest move is doing this. That's why you see so many hedge funds and people buying up all this property. And that's what we're in a fight for, to try to save you, the American homeowner, the ability to still have that American dream and purchase a home.
Well said, Otis. Well said. Evangeline, I want to take you through some simple math here. If the house is on the market that they want to purchase in Modesto for 500,000, and if the annual appreciation for a home at that price point is, let's say, 4%, that means over the course of the next 5 years, that means that their average appreciation would have been roughly around 100,000. Now, give or take, that number could be a lot higher. I'm being conservative. If we take their average rent, which is, let's say, $2,500 every single month, times that by 12, that's $30K that they're spending every single year. Now we times that for the next 5 years, that's 150,000. So 150,000 plus 100 in appreciation, which is at a low number, that's $250,000, right? Think about what $250,000 in security, in positive equity, and an investment in your family. What type of opportunities does that give you as a family and as a person that is building wealth for your loved ones? Well, yeah, well, that opens it up. That's why investing in real estate is a hedge against all the things that we're hearing in the industry, in the market. That's always going to be a hedge. Is there going to be slowdowns, so on and so forth? Yeah. But if we look at a course of 5 to 10 years, that line is always going upwards. So think about the investment and what you're doing over the course of the next couple of years, because quite frankly, you don't want to sell the home in the next 2 years, right? You want to live it. You want to build memories. That's the type of numbers that will help them see it in a completely different way. Does that make sense, Evangeline?
Yes, thank you.
All right, cool. So let's go one more contribution, David, and then we're going to shift gears.
I was going to ask you that 4% number you were using because I have a friend who wants to rent live somewhere, but his budget is $3,500 to $4,000 a month. But he doesn't. But he's not opposed to buying, but he's wants to rent instead of buy. So I was going to ask that number, that 4% you were saying, the appreciation and all that.
So what is the actual question? Sorry, I didn't catch the question.
He wants. I wanted. Can you repeat that 4% you were using to tell Evangeline how to compare?
So you have to look at. So I would use ChatGPT for this, and it's very simple. ChatGPT. What is the average annual appreciation for homes in X area, right? And then they'll give you all the sources, all the guides, and so you can realistically say that homes in this market average appreciation is between 5 and 7%, 4 and 7%. That means annually, if they don't do anything, they just live in the house, that means that home is gradually growing in appreciation. We all know that. That's basic economics, but we have to be able to share that with him, because if he's continuing to rent, what happens is that rents will have historically gone up, and there's nothing stopping rents from going down. And what they don't have is they have zero equity. Well, on the flip side of it, if that same chart is happening, their equity is continuing to go up, but those payments stay the exact same. And then what happens over time is that they could refinance that, and now that rate comes down, or that payment comes down a little bit further. So just do your homework, David. Use ChatGPT, use your comps, use your MLS, but be able to look at average appreciation for said market, and it will give you a percentage, and then calculate that based on their price point. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Thank you.
You got it, you guys. So let's do this. I'm going to share this with you. I've done this exercise before, but I'm going to do it one more time because I think it's applicable. So let's go here. Let me get a highlighter, actually. Can everybody, Vernon, can you see my screen? I can't hear you. I can't see you guys. So
Yes.
Thanks, sir. All right, cool. So I'm going to draw a quick little chart here, and forgive me for chicken scratches, okay? You guys may have seen me do this again before, but I want to share this with you. On the left side, you have, whoever's doing that, please stop doing that. Someone's in my whiteboard right now. Can you stop doing that? All right. Nobody do anything. Just let me let me do what I'm doing.
Sorry, I just touched the screen. I was like, what the fuck?
All right, stop touching the screen. It's like a little kid. The damn marker. Don't do anything. All right. Let me make a point here. All right. Left side, right side. All right. So let's call the left side rent, and let's call the right side own. Okay. It's a simple formula. This line in the middle represents their rent. And it's safe to say that rents are going to continue to go up. But what happens is their equity stays still. Their equity is non-existent. It doesn't go anywhere. They own nothing. Well, if the second chart here represents ownership, this number right here, this represents their equity, right? And it's safe to say they're going to continue to grow in equity, appreciation, value, so on and so forth. And what happens down here on this line, this is their payment. Well, if they have an interest rate today that is 6.5, the market changes in a year or two, and that interest rate goes down to 5% or wherever, it's safe to say that essentially that interest rate or that payment could go down. So what's happened is they're continuing to climb in their equity, they're continuing to grow in their wealth, but their payment has stayed the same. And then once they refinance, now that payment goes a little bit lower, but their equity still continues to climb. We have to make simple presentations like this on a napkin, on a piece of paper, on a Zoom, so our consumer can see the perils of them waiting. Because at any given time, if they're renting, any given time, that security can be taken from them. It can be taken from them in a heartbeat because that seller is seeing how well the market is moving, that owner, and they decide we want to put that house on the market. At any given time, there is zero stability for that family. Does that make sense? Does that make dollars? Cool. Ashley, I want to hear from you. You've been sending me some really cool stuff. I know that you've been in the market. I want to hear from you, from Stephanie. What is your vantage point? What are you experiencing in the marketplace right now? Like I said, you guys, I'm fired up today. Up since 3:30. Let's go, Ash.
Today is a really great day to pay attention to the news. The Fed is meeting. Powell is going to talk afterwards, and we're going to find out, are they going to pause interest rate cuts? Are they going to keep going with interest rate cuts? Based on the data, the Fed wants to wait for the labor market to break. And right now, the labor market is, on reports at least, staying strong. Then you have the other side where our current administration wants interest rates to come down pretty much at all costs. Now you have the federal President Powell is going to retire next year. So intermediately, there is something that has been brought up that says, Logan Manashimi, actually, from Housing Wire, said that they had brought up before the presidential election and everything, that there might be a shadow Fed. So what that means is that Trump might pick somebody to replace Powell next year, and in the meantime, have him be talking about his opinions. If that person does, that can influence the market now. So basically, everything's we don't know what's going to go, but we do have the current administration saying we want interest rates to come down, however that can happen. And we have the Fed saying, well, we need the labor market to break for that to happen. So a lot's going to bank on what we find out. It's going to be 11 o'clock, I believe, our time. So pay attention to the news, and that's going to tell us, at least for now, what the trajectory is going to look like short term before we get a new Fed next year.
Awesome. And for people that are just still developing their arsenal, resource guides, where's some of the top places that you go to understand and gain your knowledge about the industry?
Housing Wire and Logan Manashimi, honestly, that's a great resource. He's all over Instagram. He's got a podcast. He's got a YouTube channel. Housing Wire, Logan Manashimi. And then I also look at Redfin, and I have MBS Highway. Barry Habib on MBS Highway is very knowledgeable as well. So whoever you want to follow, everybody's going to have a little bit of a different vantage point. Just listen to everything, put it all together, and then formulate your own opinion from there.
Yeah, I love it. And it goes back to the opening sentiment. Are you educated enough to have an opinion? Right? Are you educated enough to have an opinion? And you could hear from Habib and you could hear from Morgan. They might have completely different vantage points about the way they talk about the market. Not saying either are wrong, but they have enough education to have an opinion about the market. Let's go, Steph. Steph, what do you got for them? What's your thoughts, contributions on the conversation? Let's roll.
So I just want to share purchase applications are up 13% year over year. So applications have continuously increased for 14 and a week straight now. Okay, so that's huge. The buyers are out. You just have to get out there and find them. So even though there's a lot of indecisive people because of all the headlines and things like that, there are more than enough buyers out there right now that are serious. And so the data is just going to come down to the data. There's so much fear mongering out there and these headlines that are incorrect. So just show them the actual data so that we can get these people on board. I was doing the same thing as Ashley and reaching out and just kind of reiterating to everyone the benefits of buying in this market. Every market is going to be different. I've been around for 20 years in mortgage. I've seen all the different, markets. It's gotten real ugly. And right now, I feel like it's so beneficial for people to get in so we can get money from the sellers. That is huge. Like, so many times during COVID, the sellers, if you ask them for money, they tell you to kick rocks. They weren't handing out these fat seller credits. I just got $35,000 for a buyer, and we used that to buy down the interest rate and pay all their closing costs. In what market can you do that, right? Use that to your advantage. Like back in 2011, when everything was fine, the sky was falling. I lost a house back then too. But the people who bought, and I regularly go back to that house that I lost just to look at where it's at now. And that house has tripled in equity from the person who bought it for me. And that just shows you, and I'm not the only one, right? Everybody who bought during that time is sitting on mountains of equity today because real estate is a long-term investment. So which this is not going to happen, but even if it crashed a year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, it'll always come back, right? No matter what. Real estate is like a roller coaster. So it's not just a straight line of equity. There's going to be little dips. Every market is different. So just use the data, show them the data, and just remind everybody how beneficial it is to buy in this market.
Yeah, wonderful contributions. I love our lender partners here on the call. Anybody else have any thoughts, contribution, insights, questions, dialogue that they want to share on the call? And Evangeline, are you reaching for the mute button? Because I want to go back to you, Evangeline. Just want to see if you have any additional perspective to go back to your clients with. Let's hear from you. We're going to come full circle on this.
Yeah, I do. I mean, I did give them on the call the data regarding like how much your rent goes up. So that's handling that objection, but I don't think I gave the full circle or full picture, right? Of like, well, what about the appreciation? Kind of per this conversation, their fear was coming from the fact that they lost their home in '08, and I had already told them how well the banks have changed since then. This is what has changed. But again, I think leading with the data, kind of like what Stephanie was saying, is like, look at how much it's appreciated from that time. So yeah, very very helpful. I think it's just on me to have more stats in my tool belt, kind of thing.
For sure. And I'm glad that you said that because they have some old scars, right? They have some old scars, some old beliefs, some things that were probably pretty traumatizing to them and to their family, having to regroup and sell a property. Like we went through some very, very hard times as an economy. And so there's some old scars there. And so I understand how you feel. I'm here for you, empathy. And then you share with them all the stats, figures, and data, and hopefully you get them to really see the big picture. So good stuff, Evangeline. I appreciate you chiming in. Anybody else have any dialogue? Go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, exactly what Stephanie was saying. Like a deal I just closed yesterday, we got 60 grand back. My buyers have a 4.5% interest rate. They paid, and they got their payment below. They wanted to keep it 4,500 or below. Yeah, 44.66. If we don't have this uncertainty like we have right now, they'll pay 6 grand a month. They're not getting that shit back. You know what I mean? So like, people just gotta just get off their fear, leverage the fear to get your deal so it rides you through. Don't let the fear hinder you, because people will give you deals right now. When the rates drop, because Trump wants the rates to drop because he wants the money to move. When money moves, rates drop, it's not happening. So it's like if they need to live somewhere, they need to buy a house. So facts tell, stories sell. So tell the story I just told you guys. saying agent on my team just got their buyers a 4.5% rate due to the uncertainty and fear that's going on in the market right now. So you should just take action and make it happen.
Yeah, God, I absolutely love that. You guys remember this and always remember this third-party stories. When you hear a Chris, when you hear an Otis, when you hear somebody contributing, like take that information and use that when you're communicating with your consumers. Become a third-party story junkie because those are the things that really, really matter. $60,000. Here's the thing, you guys, put it in your damn offer. Shoot your shots right now, especially for those houses that have been sitting longer than the average days on the market in that said area. Put it in your offer, write it up, and allow yourself to go into communication and have that negotiation. So, you guys, really, really strong stuff. I'm going to go around the room, get some key thoughts and takeaways as we start to wrap session. I'm going to go to Ryan Vo. Ryan Vo, this is all kind of new to you, big dog. So, I want to hear from you. What was one thing that you heard in the dialogue that was shared that you say, you know what, that gives me a little bit of confidence to do A, B, and C? Let's roll, Ryan. What do you got?
Yeah, so I think the first thing is go back to the example that we use, saying that the renters are fearful that they can't sell their house later down the line in 2 years due to like the market and everything like that. And yeah, I mean the appreciation will go higher than the rent increases every single year. So that's one way for them to like consider buying real estate right now.
Good, man. Well, I appreciate you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your contribution. Let's go to Gary Archer. Gary Archer, official congratulations are in order. And your boy got his DRE number this week. We're ready to go. He's ready to start selling at a high level. So, Gary Archer, one key thought, one key takeaway from our time together today. Let's roll.
Well, what's crazy is like all these Zoom calls leading up to today, right? Finally got my license, listen to everything. It's always up to now, it's all my theory, right? I'm listening to people and what I fear, like what I think makes sense, right? But I'm just saying two things were very incredible today. What Chris said is the most amazing thing ever. When if anyone don't remember, he said it's because of the uncertainty right now that we're able to get the deal we're gonna get. If it was everything was solid, we wouldn't be able to get this house and we'd have to pay way more money. So that was incredible. That was insane because that's what they're worried about. So we're playing, we're letting them know like, cool, we want to play that game. And with the rent thing, right? The way you explained it, I wish you would have drew the scales. You know how you did the two graphs? They got to be like this because, like, you know what I mean? Your rent goes up and then your equity goes opposite. The more money you pay in rent, you losing more money every month. Your payment stays in your house, but it goes up every month, right? So it's an opposite effect. It's a yin and yang, a pull and push. And if we don't have one, you don't have the other.
Smart.
Right? It's gonna maximize. But thank you. That's what I see.
Yeah, good, man. I appreciate your contributions. And once again, huge congratulations to you. Let's go over to Princess. Princess, really good to see you. Operating on a little sleep probably, but you're here. Princess,
Good morning from the body. Yes, it was my day off, but no, I missed this. Being able to hear you guys and just talk about the market. And yeah, we do have objections. I mean, I'm still talking about real estate at work and just, the market's going to crash. And I'm like, well, at the end of the day, you still got to buy a house if your family is expanding. You still got to buy a house if you are getting a divorce. Like, there's so many things. Life is still going to happen. And so to hear that, all these objections, at the end of the day, like, life is going to happen. And if you need to make the move, you're going to make the move. And right now is really the best time to do it because you're able to take advantage of it. So, yeah, loved hearing everything that everybody contributed. So
appreciate you, Princess. Yeah, you're right. Impending events. Consumers still have impending events, and it's our responsibility to prospect and lead generate at a high level to where we're still finding those opportunities. Allow the people that want to be controlled by the fear because they're sheep. Allow those people to leave the market because they don't feel comfortable. As no matter what we do, no matter what attempts that we do to change that perspective, we understand that people are going to leave. It's our responsibility to go find those people that are ready right now. That's our responsibility. So really good stuff, Princess. Let's go back to Glenn. Glenn, key thoughts, key takeaways from our time together today, big dog.
There are always multiple sides to every story. You have no idea where people are coming from or where their fears stem from. I was talking the other day with someone and they said, oh, besides a realtor, what's one of the other things that you are? I'm always a therapist and counselor. first, right? So just remember that everyone is coming from a different place, and do your absolute best to be your authentic self and support them in a way that makes sense for you and for them.
Yeah, Glenn, well said, well said. Vernon, I have a question for you, my man. Should I share the prompt that I shared, you and I shared in intensity this morning with this group?
Absolutely. You know my answer to that question, Elias, for sure.
I would be selling everybody short if I did not, right?
You can't mention it and now not give it to them, but absolutely you have to give it to them. And here's my encouragement to each one of you: lender, realtor, new, old, no DRE, new DRE, whatever. Do the exercise. You will appreciate your effort at this exercise later. Just do it. Give it
Guys,
to me. Give it to me.
we're going to close with this. Now, don't worry about capturing this. I'm going to give you a QR code right now, and I'll also put it in the chat so you guys can see this, okay? So this is going to be some really, really powerful work that you guys are going to do this week. It says, I want to uncover the mask I'm currently wearing, the roles I'm playing, and the illusions I'm believing. Please guide me through this process by asking me 10 reflective questions, one at a time, to help me recognize the stories I'm telling myself. After I answer the 10th question, please step into the role of my higher self and analyze my responses, identify top negative patterns present in my life, and top positive patterns I can embrace and grow. Be direct and truthful. Tough love is welcome. Provide me with daily affirmations to support my growth, actionable steps to change my behaviors, and embody my authentic self, and a message of encouragement from my higher self to celebrate my journey so far, or the journey that I've come on so far. You guys, this here is one of the most powerful prompts that I've seen. So I'm going to put it there, and I'm going to also share my screen. There's a QR code in case you just want to grab it this way. If you're not able to grab it from the way that I just put it in the chat, here it is here. And then what I want to encourage you to do is do that work. You guys are going to take some time. You're going to reflect. It's going to be real. It's going to be truthful. But I promise you, this is going to be a very, very powerful exercise. I want to come back together in the next couple of weeks, and I want to hear from you guys. I want to hear your thoughts, your takeaways, and some of the messaging that ChatGPT has formulated for you. And I promise you, this will be a really, really powerful, heart-centered exercise. So hopefully you guys have that. I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and I'm excited for you guys because this is really, really powerful. So you guys, thank you for being here. Thank you for being present. Thank you for your contributions. If you find that these sessions are helpful, make sure to tap on someone's shoulder, get them to be here, encourage them to be in the room, because you know the power of the collective wisdom. So you guys, I'm going to hop on a plane in just a little bit here, heading to Arizona to go fill my cup with all kinds of great producers in EXP. These people are $50 million producer plus, or 30 transaction plus. So I get to go and sit in that room and be a student so I could bring back even more knowledge and expertise to pour into you guys. So as always, keep it moving towards your dreams, goals, and vision, and have yourself an amazing day and make it a week that matters. Peace.